We on? Okay. Welcome to the training center. I take it you've already heard about our little video. Good. Turn on the projector and scroll and press play to start watching.
Hey, genuinely, thank you for being here and playtesting our game. Closed beta is no longer under NDA, so feel free to stream, make first impressions videos, and post clips online. Remember, if you've pre-ordered Wardogs and decide you don't like the game, you're more than welcome to refund it. For everyone else, welcome to Wardogs. We hope you make money, lose money, and love every second of winning it back.
Now that that's finally over, you can head across the hall and start your training. That fine man is an equipment vendor. You'll find these guys standing next to weapons posters across Bakarani's safe zones. Grab an AK and some ammo from him. Let's get started. Get an AK and ammo from the vendor. I know you've done this before, but I need to see it for myself. So, when you're ready, fire at the targets. With the right ammo, bullets can easily penetrate weaker materials, like glass, wood, cloth, obviously. Hit the target through the wood to see for yourself. Solid work. Unlike wood, some surfaces are not penetrable, causing bullets to ricochet. Fire at the edge of the container and watch the bullet rebound. This works a bit like Simon Says. Simon Says, shoot the edge of the container. This works a bit like Simon Says. And Simon Says, shoot the edge of the container. This works a bit like Simon Says. And Simon Says, good job. See what you're like with explosives. Go to the vendor and get some grenades. You may need to grab a backpack and all, if you don't have one already. Head back to the vendor and get a grenade. You might also need a backpack. Now, take a grenade from slot 4 of your tac vest and throw it through the top window. Good work. Now, go back to the vendor and get yourself a helmet and some armor from their gear selection. While this gear makes you harder to kill, it also adds weight, making you slower and less agile, which is worth thinking about before choosing your loadout. Open your inventory and see for yourself. Sounds like you passed this section. Go through the doors and start phase 2. God, I hate that horn. Quick, run over and revive that guy before he bleeds out. This is so much worse than I remembered. definitely won't be shot again. Oh, this fella can't catch a break. Well, you could just use your hands to revive him again. Using proper medical equipment makes the process way faster. Grab a resuscitator from the vendor's item selection and see for yourself. Now, drag that guy away from the danger before resuscitating him. Use the resuscitator to get them back on their feet. Good job. Now on to the next room. Stand in that large white circle on the floor. This is the control zone. Every faction competes to hold this zone. The faction with the most players in the zone, when the score timer ticks over, earns a point. The first team to reach 100 points wins the match. Stay in the control zone. Notice that your presence here is contributing to your team's score in the bottom left of your screen, and that you are earning money for doing so in the top right. A new circle has been added to the display. Go and enter it. This smaller roaming circle is the hot zone. Everything you do here is worth more to you and your team. You'll see in the bottom left that your zone presence has doubled since being in the circle. Holding this area can swing entire matches in your favor and earn you a healthy profit. Stay in the hot zone to earn another point and take home some serious pay. Head towards the final room. You may end up down like this multiple times per match.
Jesus Christ!
Though tempting,
Somebody get me out!
giving up straight away is not always a good move. The journey from your spawn to the control zone is pretty time consuming. Staying for a revive may well save you time and cash while
I
keeping
need
you in
some
the fight
fucking
for
help
longer.
over here!
Right, now you've learned that dying shit. Let's get you back to full health. Head over to the vendor and grab a first aid kit from the items section. Go to the vendor and pick up an individual first aid kit from the items. Use the kit to heal yourself. Alright, for real this time. You can go into the next room. Approach the vendor, get yourself a small hammer and some build supplies. You'll find those in the items section.
Welcome to Back, son.
I've got a limited time offer. I've got one hell of an offer for you, rookie. No refunds, no returns. Welcome to the party, mate. another newbie. Guess you're after the discount. Get it while you can, because when it's gone, it's gone. No refunds, even if you are a rookie.
Ебать, родной. Как ты водишь? Таксистина.
me!
Not to lose all the social credit points on this one. Now, we all love to talk about how old the American B-52 is, with it expecting to be flying up into its 100th birthday, but our comrades over in the People's Republic of China have their own version of old bomber from the 1950s, and it also kind of sucks. So turbojet to the like and subscribe button and let's talk about it. This is the Chinese Xian H-6 bomber. It's the primary bomber of the Chinese Air Force and believed to be the only aircraft they have capable of carrying nuclear weapons in their current arsenal. Back in 2024, it ran joint exercises with Russian bombers off the coast of Alaska and regularly patrols deep into the South China Sea and occasionally just outside of Japanese airspace. China hypes it up more than I have to hype myself up to make a phone call, but despite all that, it's not that great. The H-6 is a family of Chinese bombers that first left Chinese factories back in Chinese 1959. Though it didn't enter service until 10 years later in 1969, mostly because the glorious Great Leap Forward and advanced aircraft engineering tend to not really mix well together. And also, that's the actual reason, by the way, they ended up losing the schematics for the plane during all the chaos at the time. They're based on the Soviet Tu-16 Badger, first built in 1952, which the Ruskies put into operational service 1 year before the B-52 did. H-6s are twin-engine strategic bombers. Strategic, here meaning that they are designed to hit the big stuff, like dropping nukes on cities, blowing up military bases, or taking out targets like military factories or fuel production. This is opposed to tactical aircraft that would be hitting targets like enemy troops and equipment at or near the front line. Speaking of things that go kaboom, do you want to experience taking incredible shots from the comfort of your mobile kings? Air defense and surface jet fighters, by the way, much like my cat Miso, are very territorial, which is why they're constantly attacking each other, I think. The H-6, simply put, is a big, slow target that, compared to its filthy capitalist pigs in the 2020s, can't carry a lot of stuff or go very far. This thing tops out below the speed of sound, cruising at about Mach 0.75. A bit over 600 miles an hour. It has the radar signature of a flying grain silo, and in its original form, its idea of countermeasures was a couple of tail gunners sitting in the back with 23mm cannons, which were more of coping mechanisms than an actual self-defense plan. The original engines also weren't doing this thing any favors. The first H-6s were powered by two Xian WP-8 turbojets, which were themselves Chinese copies of an old Soviet engine. And turbojets of that era were loud, fuel-thirsty, and not especially powerful for their size. Jet engines are an area that China has historically struggled with, even to today largely. And that is a bigger issue than just being able to go fast in the sky, because the engine produces power for most everything else important like radar equipment. So not only do you get bad performance after takeoff, you get a bottleneck in terms of how powerful the other stuff on board can be too. I heard in H-6s they don't even have those, little seat back screens on board because they need the extra power for the radio. So you had a heavy airframe, mediocre engines, no stealth, no speed, no bitches, and countermeasures primarily based on hope and or luck. Against the air defenses that existed by the time the 1990s rolled around, an H-6 trying to fly over a defended target was more of a physics problem in measuring the terminal velocity of a human falling from a plane than anything else. But none of that makes it uniquely bad though. The American B-52 is also slow, loud, and a giant target for anything that's looking up into the sky. What does make it uniquely bad though is that the United States developed the B-1 and the B-2 bombers to flush out the arsenal, while the PRC really didn't. China kept the H-6 not because it was great, but because they had nothing better and no practical way to build something better at the time. Designing a modern strategic bomber from scratch is one of the hardest things a country can do in the realm of aerospace engineering. Only a tiny handful of nations have ever managed it, and China, for most of the H-6's lifespan, was not one of them. So instead of replacing the plane, they did the next best thing. They basically just remixed it. And when I say remixing, I mean this thing has more variants than your mother has romantic entanglements. There was the H-6A for dropping nuclear gravity bombs, the H-6D, which strapped big anti-ship missiles under the wings to go after big old boats. There were recon versions, electronic warfare versions, tanker versions, and a whole alphabet of others. Every few years, China would re-unveil the H-6 with a different designation and a slightly different job. But all those were still fundamentally the same 1950s plane with new stuff just bolted on. And none of it fixed the core problem, which is that the airframe simply could not